Okay, so the last family to live at Pendle Hill were Sid and Zena Douglas and their family. And we're privileged here today to have Ngaire, who's in her 83rd year. And she was a member of that family living at Pendle Hill. Can you remember the years?
Well, we shifted down back to we were Pendle Hill early.
Yes.
And Ray was born there, and May were both
Yeah, you were
born,
both born there.
Yeah, and it was during the war because Dad was then just exactly what date that was, I'm not sure, but Dad was manpowered up to Warsnips at Wakarara.
Because two of the boys
had gone to the war. And so, and I actually started school at Wakarara.
The Wakarara school?
Yes.
Okay.
I stayed with the school teacher, and I started school before I was 5.
Okay. Do you remember the school teacher's name?
Jill Rasmussen.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
and Jill Smith. When we went back to Pendle Hill, 3 days a week we'd get a ride to school on the cream lorry.
Uh-huh.
And come back home with Dave Yeoman from the mill, from up at Makarora Mill, and he would pick us up after school. One day we had to go up the Lookout Road because we had passengers in the truck, and we had to sit on the back. It was quite exciting because the tray of the truck used to hang over the road.
Yeah.
And it was good, you know. You had your old fire in the corner of the school.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the big ones looked after the little ones.
So when you were at Pendle Hill, you went to Blackburn?
No, Blackburn wasn't.
Oh.
No, we went to Spring Hill.
Spring Hill, okay.
Yeah, we used to go down there
okay.
when we went back to Pendle.
Mm-hmm.
Ray and I'd go and get wood.
Yeah.
With the sledge and the draft horse.
Oh, would you? Yeah.
The old Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar.
Yeah,
Oscar the draft
we'd
horse.
saddle him up in the in the stables, and apparently I would be underneath.
Underneath Oscar.
Oscar holding the collar up.
Oh yes, yeah, I can see that. Yes.
And I can remember us gathering lots of wetters and taking them to school for poor Jill.
Okay.
The teacher.
Yeah.
And of course we'd take the lid off and the wetters would get out of the class.
And she wasn't keen on that?
No, she wasn't. I don't know why. Came Christmas, and of course Granny Douglas was the head chef.
Yes.
There. And, you know, they were really great days. And how, you know, all the cooking, the women had to do the cooking and the men looked after the kids and played rounders out in the front paddock there.
Yeah,
I can always remember that.
And it was a roast turkey for Christmas Day?
Oh, yes.
Yes, always a roast.
And, of course, there'd be lamb too. Because, well, I mean, there was a whale of a family with everyone coming, you know.
Yeah.
And
so the day-to-day running before you went to school, you had cows to milk?
Oh, yes, we used to go.
Chooks to feed, I presume?
Oh, yes. Well, because they liked the wetters, the chooks.
Yes, so you fed them on wetters?
Yeah, fed them on wetters and things. And, of course, there were ducks too. We had the whole lot in that way. A little shed there that they did the separating in for the cream. Because during the war you weren't allowed to make your own butter. Everybody did.
So the reason being that it...
Yeah, they would supply us with our allocation of butter each week.
Okay.
Yeah, they'd bring it to you. And on Thursdays was sale day in Waipak, and Aunt Luce and them used to pick us up and drop us at the corner of the Lookout Road.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And then ring Mum when they got home and to say that they'd dropped us off. And of course, if we were running late, it wasn't a good sign.
No.
Because I did get hit on the head by my a stone that my brother threw at me because I wouldn't go through the bull paddock.
Oh, yeah.
And we had to wash the blood out of my hair. That
Before
night,
you got-
Mum met us at the top of the hill and up near the house.
Yes.
We were not
The cooking facilities in the kitchen, as I remember them, there was a double oven.
Yes, a double
Yeah.
oven Orion stove.
Yeah.
It was an Orion.
Yeah.
But it also had a water jacket.
Okay.
And because that's where they used to get their boiling water from,
Yes.
from the stove. But we didn't have baths there very often. In the wintertime, we always got into the old tin bath in front of the fire.
In front of the fire. Yeah. Yeah.
First in, first
Yes.
served.
Yeah. And it was sort of a carry on from when the Fletchers were living in the clay hut.
Yes.
Well, in the clay house, the girls bathed in the kitchen in the clean water.
Yes, yeah.
And
Then the boys got a
Yeah,
chance.
yeah.
Yes.
And
This
in the
is it.
summer months, they just washed in the river.
Yes.
Yeah. What about possums at Pendle Hill? Do you remember much about?
Oh, well, yeah, well, there were possums around.
Yeah.
We had pet possums.
Yes.
Because Dad, I can remember him picking one up on the railing going down one of the cuttings,
Yes,
going up
yeah.
to Warsnips
Yeah.
one night.
Yeah.
So we had shivers, and that one had a box in by the kitchen door, and he
Okay.
would go down the drive, down into the big market carpet trees at the gate
Oh, yeah.
when Dad went to work in the morning,
Would
and
he?
he would rush down the tree when he got home at night.
So the main lounge, the big fireplace.
We did sleep there when we got whooping cough
Mm-hmm.
and had the fire going day and night.
Yeah.
And that's when your mother came up to Pendle Hill to help my mother,
Okay.
because when one started coughing, of course, Merle was only a baby,
Yes. Yeah.
and you'd have to grab her up because to stop her choking.
Yeah.
And that and whooping cough in those days was really horrid.
Yeah.
But that was the only bad lot of illness that I
Mm.
can remember as having. But I thought that room was huge until I saw it in Ongret when they
The same.
shifted it.
I totally thought it was as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Ngaire, would you like to talk to us about your days as a dental nurse?
Oh, thank you. Well, that was, first time away from home, I was a very green girl going away.
So where did you actually...
I went to Wellington to do my training.
Wow.
And now that, because the dental school's been closed, girls have to go to Dunedin now. But, there were 2 very full years there. You had really no choice on where you went after you'd graduated. And I was sent up the East Coast, up
were you?
to Tiaroa.
Oh, were you?
And I had a wonderful time up there. The people there were just so great. And I got my driver's licence there because the district nurse, we boarded with her, and she was quite determined that you all had to get your driver's licences when you left there.
Okay.
We had a lamp in the bathroom, and I had the girl from Tiki Tak up with
Yeah,
me.
ticky tick.
And we decided we'd have an early bath because the district nurse always went to bed early. And she heard us squeal. We'd heard the scuttling on the floor. The next thing, a rat jumped up.
Oh, you and your rats.
Anyway, I must admit, I do not let rats live.
No.
I'm not a lady when it comes when there's rats around.
They seem to be following you.
I was told that at high school, actually, because there was a rat stood up at the end of the tennis courts one day while we were playing tennis.
Yeah.
And he just stayed there.
Did he? On his
until-
hind legs?
Yeah, he was standing up there. And so anyway, they sort of chased him, and he went through the hedge to where the lunch, they had an incinerator there. And I killed him, and we told the headmistress. And ladies do not do that. So you now know that I'm not a lady. But I went round to Omarumutu from there, which was out of Apotiki. And we had terrible earthquakes up there while I was there.
Okay.
And this child was from a school down the road that I had in a chair. I picked her up out of the chair and up to school. I wasn't staying because the school was up higher. And we shook for a week. The Maori school teacher that used to take me out to work, he'd pick me up instead of me having to start half an hour earlier and go on the bus out. And a week later he said to me, don't worry, you don't have to come up to school, because at 9:10 every morning we had a quake.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was quite amazing, really.
Yeah.
And because I said to him, why? He said, well, look, White Island's smoking.
Ah, yes,
When
yes.
But, that came back.
Yeah.
We got rid of the earthquake.
Yeah, okay.
But I was going to come home. I wasn't going to stay there any longer. There were only 4 European families there when I was there. But we were looked after so well by the Maori population. Yeah. And we had Mum and Pop Goldsmith across the road and their 2 daughters. And that's where I learnt to eat smoked eel and things.
Yes, yeah.
And when I actually left there, my send-off was from the police station. Oh. And not many people can say they've done that with a whole lot of Maoris all there to say goodbye.
That's great. And from there you came home to Dannyville.
Yes, I came down to Dannyville then.
Okay, so what year was that?
That was 57.
57.
I sort of did a trip up around the coast there. But it was a wonderful place. Yeah,
and you married in?
Here in 59.
59.
My thrill was, a few weeks ago, this new health shop had opened in town. And my daughter went in, Tracy went in there, and the lady that had started it greeted her. And then she saw me and she came flying along and threw her arms around me. You were my nurse Douglas, weren't you?
Is that right?
Just like
is that right? Yeah.
And she says, you haven't changed a bit. And as I said, 60 years later, I can't believe I haven't changed.